True success begins in the mind. Before wealth ever appears in your life, it must be invited into your thinking. Every empire, every fortune, every breakthrough was first born in thought. That is the secret most people never grasp it. They chase money, but they never develop the mindset to hold it. They focus on income, but ignore the beliefs that govern how they use it. To think financially is to go deeper than bank accounts or paychecks. It is to adopt a new lens, a new way of seeing the world where every action either builds or breaks your future. It means understanding that every dollar has direction and every habit has a consequence. Money is not just earned, it is managed, multiplied, and protected, all starting in the mind. When you begin to think financially, you stop living for the moment and start living for the mission. You stop spending without thought and start asking, what does this cost my future? You begin to evaluate every decision, not by how it feels now, but by what it does later. It's not about being cheap, it's about being intentional. You stop treating money emotionally and start treating it strategically, because financial thinking isn't just about getting more, it's about using what you already have more wisely. It's about shifting from consumer to creator, from reaction to responsibility. It's about stepping into the role of a builder, not just a buyer. Most people live trapped in survival mode because they've never been taught how to think financially. They are reactive, not proactive. They wait for money to show up, and when it does, they lose it faster than it came. They believe that the answer to their problems is always more money, but that's not true. The answer is clarity, control, and commitment. If you gave a man with no financial thinking $1 million, he would lose it. But if you gave a man with the right mindset $100, he would grow it. Because money follows mindset. Without the structure of discipline, knowledge, and vision, money is simply fuel for destruction. But in the hands of someone who has trained their mind to think wisely, it becomes a weapon of freedom. To think financially is to rise above the noise of culture that teaches you to spend first and plan later. It is to become a strategist of your own destiny. You begin to ask better questions. What do I truly need? What do I want to build? What kind of life do I want to design? You stop working just to pay bills and start working to create assets. You stop envying what others have and start focusing on what you can create. This is a mental shift that doesn't come overnight, but once it begins, everything changes. You will find that opportunities begin to look different. You won't see quick money as attractive anymore. You'll value the slow build, the consistent gain, the quiet compounding of good decisions over time. And once you make that shift, once your thinking becomes rooted in principles of growth, patience, and purpose, you become unstoppable. Because wealth is not just money. Wealth is the ability to live with choices. Wealth is peace of mind. Wealth is knowing that you are in control, that your life is moving in a direction you have chosen, not one forced on you by circumstance. That is what it means to think financially. It is the foundation for all other success. Before the dream, before the plan, before the action, it starts with how you think. And when your thinking changes, so does everything else. You must unlearn what the world taught you about limits. Most people are not held back by their skills or intelligence. They are held back by beliefs planted in them by fear. From an early age, many are taught to be realistic, to settle, to play it safe. They are warned not to dream too big or expect too much. These are the roots of poverty thinking. Poverty is not just the absence of money, it is the presence of mental chains. It is a deep belief that success is reserved for others, not for you. It whispers that wealth is only for the lucky, the privileged, the chosen few. And until you confront these lies, they will control you without your awareness. You may not have chosen your starting point, but you are responsible for your direction. The truth is, every wealthy person had to make a decision at some point, to reject the limitations imposed by their environment, to rise beyond the habits and fears they were surrounded by. Poverty mindset thrives on excuses. It's too late. I wasn't born rich. I can't take risks. But every excuse is a wall that keeps you from building your future. To destroy poverty programming, you must stop arguing for your limitations. You must stop defending the very mindset that is holding you hostage. The moment you stop giving energy to doubt is the moment your power returns. Financial growth requires you to see yourself differently. You are not just a consumer. You are not just someone who works to survive. You are a creator, a builder, a thinker. You are capable of rewriting your future, but only if you take control of your beliefs. Start feeding your mind with strength. Choose learning over complaining. Choose strategy over impulse. Choose responsibility over blame. Wealth will never come to the person who believes they are powerless, but it will always find the one who takes command of their thoughts. You must rise above mental poverty before you ever escape financial poverty. That is the true starting point of lasting success. Everything begins within. Money earned without intention is money that quietly disappears. It doesn't matter how much you make if you lack the discipline to direct it. The habit of earning is only half of the equation. What truly matters is how you think about that earning and what purpose you assign to it. When money comes into your life, it must be assigned a job. It should not wander aimlessly into mindless spending. Without clarity, your income will leak through the cracks of convenience. But when you attach every dollar to a mission, you stop working just for survival and start working for growth. You begin to see your income as a tool, not just a reward. And that shift alone separates those who struggle financially for decades from those who build empires over time. Earning with purpose transforms your work. You no longer show up just to collect a paycheck. You show up to fund your vision, to expand your capacity, to invest in your future. This purpose redefines your motivation. You begin to track your spending not because you're afraid of lack, but because you're committed to mastery. You stop asking, "Can I afford this?" and start asking, "Is this aligned with my goals?" When your income is rooted in purpose, you no longer tolerate waste. Every financial decision becomes a vote for the kind of life you want to build. You begin to understand that money flows where attention goes, and if your attention is scattered, your wealth will be too. This mindset demands maturity. It's easier to ignore your finances than to confront them. But true power comes from facing what others avoid. Be the one who sits down, plans, calculates, and commits. Be the one who doesn't just work hard, but works smart. Because consistent earning is a gift, but purposeful earning is a skill. It's a habit of high achievers, those who don't just chase comfort, but chase growth. When your income is tied to vision, you're no longer just making money. You're making progress. You're building something. And that is the essence of real financial success. Talent may open the door, but only consistency keeps it open. Far too many people believe that success is about brilliance, luck, or sudden breakthroughs. But the truth is, none of that lasts without the slow, steady rhythm of daily effort. The person who shows up every single day, even when motivation fades, even when results are invisible, becomes unstoppable over time. Consistency is not about perfection. It's not about working nonstop or burning out. It's about developing a pattern of discipline that compounds like interest. Each small act, repeated over time, becomes a force that no excuse, no obstacle, no circumstance can break. People often admire the end result, the wealth, the freedom, the influence, but they overlook the quiet process that built it. Behind every visible success is a hidden story of repetition. Long nights, early mornings, countless hours doing the same thing over and over until it became second nature. That's the power of consistency. It doesn't look glamorous, but it's always effective. You don't need to be extraordinary. You just need to be committed. You don't need to take massive leaps. You just need to take small, steady steps in the right direction, again and again. The mistake most people make is waiting to feel ready. They wait for inspiration, for motivation, for some magical sign. But those who truly win understand that consistency creates motivation, not the other way around. You act first, then the feelings follow. You discipline yourself to show up no matter what, and eventually your results begin to speak. They begin to compound. They begin to transform not just your bank account, but your identity. Because consistency doesn't just build wealth, it builds character, it builds confidence. It makes you the kind of person who can be trusted with success. In the end, the secret is simple. Do what matters, do it well, and do it repeatedly. Not once, not twice, but for as long as it takes. Discipline is not punishment. It is a form of self-respect. When you build discipline into your daily life, you are not restricting your freedom, you are building it. Each time you make a choice that honors your goals over your impulses, You reclaim control over your future. Discipline is the ability to say no when your emotions say yes. It's the quiet force that keeps you moving forward when everything around you tries to pull you off course. And the truth is, you don't need more motivation. You need stronger habits. Motivation fades, inspiration comes and goes, but discipline stays because it is a decision you make every day, whether you feel like it or not. The beauty of discipline is that it compounds. One small action repeated daily becomes a lifestyle. One good habit practiced consistently becomes a new identity. And that identity starts to shape your outcomes. You no longer need to force results. They begin to flow naturally from the person you're becoming. That's the secret of those who appear effortlessly successful. They've trained themselves to follow a routine that aligns with their highest goals. Their discipline is their advantage. While others seek shortcuts, they build systems. While others waste time debating, they take action with precision. It's not because they're better, it's because they are committed. Make discipline your standard, not your exception. Don't treat it like something you apply only when life is calm or convenient. Build your discipline into every area of your day. How you wake up, how you work, how you manage money, how you respond to pressure. The more consistent your discipline becomes, the less energy you waste on decisions. You start to operate from clarity, not confusion. You start to live with focus, not distraction. And that focus becomes a magnet for progress. Every day you honor your discipline, you are quietly shaping a future of freedom, power, and wealth. So keep showing up, keep doing the work, and trust that every disciplined moment is a brick in the foundation of your success. The greatest threat to long-term success is not failure. It is the addiction to immediate results. In a world where everything is available instantly, people have forgotten the value of patience. They want wealth now, success now, rewards now. But real achievement doesn't come to those who chase speed. It comes to those who understand timing. If you want to build something that lasts, you must be willing to delay gratification. You must be strong enough to say no to temporary pleasure in favor of permanent growth. The ability to wait, to stay focused while others are distracted, is a rare power, and it is what separates the average from the exceptional. Every time you delay gratification, you are exercising a powerful form of self-mastery. You are training your mind to think long-term. You are telling your future self, I am willing to protect you even when it's hard. That's a mark of true maturity. People who live only for the now often destroy the very things they claim to want most. They buy things they don't need, chase relationships that don't grow them, and waste time on habits that don't build them, all because they don't have the strength to wait. But those who succeed with time understand that everything great requires preparation. They are not seduced by shortcuts. They are committed to the process. Delaying gratification is not about suffering. It's about prioritizing. It's about saying, my future is worth more than this momentary pleasure. It's about choosing to invest instead of consume, to build instead of impress, to grow instead of escape. This mindset is the foundation of wealth because it forces you to think in decades, not days. When you think long-term, you stop wasting energy on things that won't matter tomorrow. You become focused, precise, and powerful, and that precision gives you leverage in every area of life. The world will always try to tempt you with what feels good now. But true winners are those who look beyond the moment and anchor their choices to a bigger vision. They know that time is not a trap. It is an ally, and patience is the price of greatness. How you handle money is a direct reflection of how much you respect yourself. Money doesn't just measure wealth. It reveals discipline, awareness, and self-control. When you treat money carelessly, you are not just risking your finances, you are disrespecting your own potential. Every dollar you earn is the result of your energy, your time, your effort. To spend it thoughtlessly is to throw away pieces of your life. But when you begin to manage your money with intention, you are telling yourself, my time matters, my future matters, I matter. That level of self-respect changes how you move in the world. Budgeting is not a restriction, it is a declaration. It says, I'm not here to survive, I'm here to build. It's not about depriving yourself, it's about organizing your life so that every part of it aligns with your goals. Most people avoid budgeting because they're afraid to face the truth. They don't want to see where their money is going because it forces them to confront the gap between their desires and their habits. But facing the truth is where your freedom begins. When you know where your money goes, you begin to regain control over your destiny. Mastering money isn't about becoming obsessed with numbers. It's about creating structure. When you give your money a plan, you reduce stress, increase clarity, and make smarter decisions. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop drifting and start directing. You stop hoping and start building. Managing your finances is not something you do after you become rich. It's something you do to become rich. It's the foundation, the structure, the discipline that wealth is built on. And once you master this, you begin to experience a new kind of power, the power of freedom, of confidence, of knowing you are no longer dependent on anyone else to determine your quality of life. That's not greed. That's growth. That's self-respect in its highest form. Wealth is not built by what you earn. It is built by what you keep and multiply. Earning money is only the first step. What truly separates those who rise from those who remain stagnant is the ability to grow what they have. Multiplication is the silent engine behind every fortune. It works through habits that seem small, almost invisible, saving consistently, investing wisely, reinvesting profits, and thinking with a long-term lens. Many people believe they need to make more money to be successful, but often they simply need to be better stewards of what they already have. When you learn to multiply your money, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of always having to chase it. Multiplication begins with a mindset shift from consumer to investor, from spender to builder. Instead of asking, what can I buy with this? Start asking, what can this become if I grow it? That single question changes everything. It pushes you to see money not as a reward, but as a resource. It transforms your choices. You begin to delay small pleasures so you can create larger opportunities. You become less impressed by appearances and more obsessed with impact. The person who multiplies their money doesn't just think in days or weeks. They think in years, in decades, in generations. They see beyond the now and focus on planting what will grow. You don't need a fortune to start building wealth. You need consistency, patience, and vision. You need to understand that even small amounts, if handled properly, can become powerful. The key is to stay committed to the process. Study where your money goes. Learn how it grows. Seek knowledge about investing, compounding, and value creation. Avoid the noise of fast money schemes and emotional spending. Wealth that is built slowly is wealth that lasts. It is stable, strong, and rooted in understanding. And once you develop the skill of multiplication, you become unstoppable because your money no longer works against you. It works for you, quietly, daily, relentlessly. While others are distracted, you are building, and over time that discipline will create a life others only dream about. The most powerful wealth is not just measured in money, it's measured in freedom. Freedom of time, of choice, of direction, and that freedom is earned through the creation of assets. Assets are the machines that work for you even when you're not working. They are the investments, businesses, ideas, and systems you build once, but benefit from repeatedly. Unlike liabilities, which drain your income, assets multiply it. They give you leverage. They give you options. Without assets, you will always trade time for money. With them, you begin to shift from earning income to building independence. Building assets requires a shift in how you think about your time and energy. Most people use all their strength to earn money and then spend that money on things that have no lasting value. They chase comfort instead of ownership, but ownership is the secret of the wealthy. They own what produces. They don't just rent life, they build it. An asset doesn't have to be massive to be meaningful. It can start small. A book, a digital product, a property, a skill that generates value over and over again. What matters is that you stop trading your future for temporary satisfaction and start putting your energy into things that grow while you sleep. Every hour you spend working can be turned into something greater if it's used to create or acquire an asset. This is the real reason some people grow rich while others remain stuck, even while working just as hard. It's not just the work, it's what the work creates. So ask yourself, what am I building? What will still be producing value 5 years from now because of the actions I take today? If the answer is nothing, then it's time to realign. Time to start thinking like a builder, not just a worker. The more assets you build, the more you escape the trap of constant hustle. And as your assets grow, so does your freedom. Not just financial freedom, but mental, emotional, and creative freedom. The ability to live on your terms, pursue your mission, and design a life that serves your highest purpose. Your environment is either feeding your future or feeding your failure. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you engage in, the energy you absorb, all of it shapes your mindset and eventually your outcomes. Success is not just about what you do, it's about what you're exposed to consistently. If you're constantly around those who complain, doubt, and resist growth, that energy seeps into your decisions. You start to lower your standards without even realizing it. You begin to question your vision, your worth, your pace. That's the silent danger of a negative environment. It doesn't always attack directly. It simply erodes your ambition slowly. On the other hand, when you intentionally place yourself in an environment of clarity, discipline, and possibility, your thinking shifts. You start to believe more is possible because you see it happening around you. You start to stretch, to question your limitations, to rise. Your standards elevate not because of pressure, but because of alignment. Energy is contagious. If you want to rise, you must be surrounded by those who expect more of themselves and of you. You need voices that challenge you, not just comfort you. You need company that holds you accountable, not just agrees with your excuses. Your environment isn't only external, it's also internal. The books you read, the content you consume, the words you speak to yourself daily, these are part of your mental atmosphere. You must guard it like your most valuable investment, because it is. You cannot grow in toxic soil. If your current surroundings do not support your dreams, change them. If you cannot change them instantly, begin building a new one piece by piece. Seek out better conversations, better influences, better inputs. Because you are not just a product of your environment, you are also the architect of it. Design it with intention. Build a life that reflects your vision, not your fears. And never forget, the right environment won't just push you to succeed. It will make it impossible to settle for less than your full potential. The greatest wealth you'll ever build begins in your mind. Before the bank account grows, before the opportunities come, before the world takes notice, you must first become rich in thought. Every result you produce flows from the beliefs you carry. If your mind is filled with scarcity, fear, and self-doubt, your actions will always be small, cautious, and inconsistent. You cannot plant seeds of insecurity and expect a harvest of abundance. Transformation begins the moment you stop seeing yourself as limited and start recognizing that your mind is your most powerful asset. When you think bigger, you act bolder. When you expect more, you create more. Most people unconsciously limit their own potential. They tell themselves quiet lies. I'm not ready. I don't have what it takes. People like me don't succeed like that. These thoughts are not truth. They are inherited limitations passed down through experiences, environments, or old failures. But they can be replaced, or they must be replaced, because your beliefs set the ceiling on your life. And unless you challenge them, that ceiling becomes your prison. Begin by questioning every limitation you've accepted as normal. Ask yourself, is this truly mine, or did I inherit this from someone else? Free your mind, and the rest will follow. Mental wealth is built through intentional inputs. Guard what you feed your mind. Study people who've done what you want to do. Read material that stretches your thinking. Speak to yourself with strength, not self-pity. Every time you choose to invest in your mindset, you raise your internal value, and life always matches your internal value over time. That's not magic, it's alignment. Your results will never exceed your belief system. So if you want to elevate your outcomes, you must first elevate your inner world. Think like a builder. Think like a leader. Think like someone who refuses to be average, because once your mind accepts abundance as normal, your actions begin to follow, and your life begins to rise. Time is the most valuable currency you will ever possess. Unlike money, you can't earn more of it. Once it's gone forever. The way you use your time reveals what you truly value. It shows whether you are serious about your growth or simply pretending. Most people waste time because they don't realize its worth until it's too late. They trade hours for distractions, days for comfort, and years for routines that never challenge them. But those who truly succeed see time differently. They don't just spend it, they invest it. Every hour has a purpose. Every day is accounted for. Every week moves them closer to their vision. Success is not about doing more things. It's about doing the right things with intensity and consistency. It's about mastering your focus. Not everything deserves your time. Not every opportunity deserves your energy. The disciplined mind learns to say no to noise so it can say yes to mastery. Wasted time is often disguised as being busy. People confuse movement with progress. They stay occupied but never move forward. That's why clarity matters. When you're clear on what matters most, your time becomes a weapon instead of a weakness. You don't chase, you build. You don't rush, you execute. Track your time like you would your money. Audit your habits. Look at where your hours go. Are they building your future or stealing from it? Are you in control, or are you constantly reacting to the world around you? You have the power to reclaim your schedule. You can structure your days to reflect your goals, not your distractions. Time is not the enemy. It is the test, and how you manage it determines what you deserve. Every successful person mastered time before they mastered wealth, because time, once aligned with purpose, becomes unstoppable. Use it with care, with vision, and with discipline, and it will deliver a life most only dream about. Consistency is the invisible force that separates those who wish from those who win. It's not about grand gestures or sudden breakthroughs. It's about the quiet, repetitive acts that compound over time. The world often praises speed, talent, and charisma, but success favors those who show up again and again, even when results are slow and motivation fades. The person who trains daily, studies consistently, saves regularly, and builds patiently will always outpace the one who moves in bursts. Because consistency builds trust with yourself, and when you trust yourself, you stop doubting and start doing. Every great achievement has a foundation of boring, repetitive action behind it. It's the daily grind that no one sees. The early mornings, the late nights, the quiet sacrifices. These aren't moments of glory, but they are moments of growth. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be consistent. A little progress repeated consistently leads to massive results. The problem is most people quit too early. They want instant feedback, instant rewards, but consistency is not glamorous in the beginning. It only becomes powerful with time. If you can endure the early stages without validation, you will soon reach a point where the results begin to speak for themselves. Your habits shape your future far more than your intentions. It doesn't matter what you say you want. What matters is what you're doing repeatedly. Are your daily actions aligned with your highest goals? If not, you're drifting. And drifting is the opposite of growth. Consistency creates momentum, and momentum makes success feel natural. You no longer have to force effort. It becomes your rhythm. Discipline turns into identity. That's the transformation. So if you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. Create a routine that reinforces your purpose. Protect it. Honor it. Keep going, even on the days when it feels small or pointless. Because one day you'll look back and realize that every quiet effort, every disciplined step, every repeated action was building a life far greater than you imagined. The greatest results in life don't come from doing everything. They come from doing the right few things repeatedly until they compound. Effort without focus is noise. Discipline without direction is burnout. That's why compounding is such a powerful force. It rewards those who stay patient with the process. Most people underestimate what small, intelligent actions can become over time. They want explosive growth, forgetting that the strongest trees grow silently, underground, before they ever reach the sky. You don't need overnight success. You need a rhythm of right action that builds on itself day after day, week after week, year after year. Compounding works because it turns ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes when applied consistently. 1 hour reading a day may seem small, but after a year, it's 365 hours of learning. Saving a small portion of your income every month may not feel like much, but over time, it turns into capital that creates freedom. Practicing your skill every single day might feel slow, but one day you wake up and realize you've become exceptional. That's the beauty of it. It rewards the quiet, the steady, and the intentional, but the catch is compounding only works for the committed. You have to stay long enough for the results to catch up. The reason most people never experience the full power of compounding is because they keep starting over. They change direction too often, chase shiny distractions, and abandon progress when it feels invisible. But compounding doesn't reveal itself in the beginning. It builds in silence. It's not exciting at first, but it is unstoppable in the end. The secret is to remain loyal to the right habits, even when they seem slow. To believe that what you are doing today will echo in your future, even if no one claps now. Because once compounding activates, it does more work than you ever could alone. That's when your time, effort, and discipline start working for you, not just through you. And that's when success begins to feel effortless, not because it is, but because you earned the momentum through quiet mastery. Success doesn't require noise, it requires results. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. Real power is quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't seek attention. It builds steadily in silence. Most people are too obsessed with being seen, with getting validation, with proving something. But those who truly succeed don't chase applause, they chase alignment. They understand that success is not about how many people know your name, it's about how deeply your life is built. And depth can't be faked. It comes from discipline, from patience, from doing the work when no one is watching. Let your growth be your proof. Let your results speak so loudly that explanations aren't needed. The world may not understand your silence at first. They might question your moves, your choices, your pace, but in time they'll see what you were building all along. You don't have to argue, defend, or perform. When you're truly aligned with your purpose, you don't need to scream. You move with a calm certainty, knowing that truth reveals itself in time. The people who win are rarely the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who execute with clarity and let the outcomes make the statement. Staying quiet while you grow is a sign of emotional strength. It shows you're not chasing approval. You're building something greater than image. You're building a foundation, something that lasts. The moment you stop needing the world to notice you is the moment you unlock a deeper power. You start to operate from within, guided by vision, not reaction. So keep working, keep learning, keep building, and let others wonder how you did it. Let your transformation be the answer. Because at the end of the day, what truly matters is not how loudly you speak. It's how deeply your life reflects your purpose. And that kind of success doesn't need an introduction. It arrives, fully formed and undeniable. The truth about wealth and lasting success is simple. It's never built overnight, but it always arrives for those who respect time. Time is the great equalizer. You can't cheat it and you can't outrun it, but you can align with it. Every action you take today either compounds in your favor or works against you. That's why those who succeed don't just work hard. They work wisely, with time on their side. They plant seeds early, water them patiently, and protect their vision from distractions. They don't rush, but they don't delay either. They understand that success is not about intensity for a day. It's about direction over years. Time becomes your greatest ally when you stop measuring your worth by what happens in a week and start building for what happens in a decade. Most people want the reward without the relationship with time. But anything truly valuable takes time to grow, whether it's wealth, character, wisdom, or mastery. The question is, are you willing to stay long enough for the results to mature? Are you willing to endure the quiet seasons where nothing seems to be moving but everything is actually forming? Because that's where most give up, right before the compound effect begins to take shape. When you combine clear thinking with consistent work and deep respect for time, the results become inevitable. You don't have to force outcomes. You attract them. You don't have to beg for success. You become aligned with it. And the more you trust time, the more peaceful you become. You stop comparing. You stop rushing. You simply build with faith in the process. This is how wealth is truly built. Not just financial wealth, but the wealth of freedom, clarity, impact, and fulfillment. You are not in a race. You are in a rhythm. Stay consistent. Stay focused. Let time do its part, because in the end, those who succeed the deepest are those who partnered with time, not those who tried to beat it.